OpenAI is a nonprofit research company that aims to promote and develop friendly AI in a way that benefits humanity as a whole. The company was founded in 2015 by a group of individuals including Ellen.
What is ChatGPT?
I am ChatGPT, a language model developed by OpenAI. I have been trained on a large corpus of text data and can generate human-like responses to a wide range of questions and prompts. My goal is to provide helpful and informative responses to the users.
Hi everyone, welcome back to XCA. This video is the final part of building ChatGPT SwiftUI app. The first video is building the app for iOS, second one is macOS, third one is watchOS, and this is the fourth, aka the final one, which is for tvOS. And yeah, this is basically the UI that we are going to build. In here we have the message list, we have the send button, we have the clear message list button. So when I try to tap on this send, I can type anything what I want. What is ChatGPT? Enter. Or you can also dictate using Siri if you have the remote. And there is the answer from ChatGPT. Nice, right? So yeah, mostly this will be the same view that we have used in the previous videos. We only need to make some adjustment. And if you know, if you can hear, there is also a speech synthesizer that we want to use so it can speak. Let me clear to stop it. Okay, so that is basically the app that we are going to build. Let's just begin by opening the previous project, the watchOS one. And yeah, so the link for the GitHub repository for this project is in the description below. So yeah, please just check that if you want to start. And yeah, without further ado, let's just begin. So previously we have the target for iOS, macOS, and the watchOS. And now we're going to create a new target for the tvOS. Go to this project settings and then project navigator at the root level, and then click this plus button, select tvOS, select application, and give it the name that you want. I'm going to give it a name of XCA ChatGPT TV. Okay, enter. Okay, we have the target and it should create the scheme for us as well in here. So let me select the XCA ChatGPT TV scheme. And now we have this folder created for us for the root app. For content view, just like before, we don't need this. We are going to use the previous views and components. Move to trash. And then inside this share folder, these are all the source files for the iOS, macOS, watchOS. Now select all of these source files in the shared folder and open this right sidebar. And in the target membership list, make sure to check XCA ChatGPT TV. This will include all of these source files for the ChatGPT TV target. So we should now be able to access these components. Let's begin by copy and pasting the state object. Okay, I'm going to just copy it from the Mac app for the view model. Okay, and let me close the site navigator. Okay, and pass this to the content view build. So make sure you provide your own API key, which you can get from the OpenAI website. Okay, now let me try to build. Okay, there is the app. Currently it's empty. Now let's start implementing the views. So the first one that we are going to do is we're going to put the title. Okay, but instead of putting it inside the navigation stack, I'm going to put it just inside a v stack. Okay, because I encounter some error where the scroll view that we use to render the message list is overlapping with that navigation title. I don't know whether it's the bug or it is intended by the framework. So in here, let's create a vstack. Okay, let's move content view inside that vstack, and let's declare a text. Give it a name XCA ChatGPT or any name that you want for your own app. Set the font to large title. Okay, we can run this first. Okay, we have the title, and now I want to put a edge tag containing the list at the leading edge and the buttons at the trailing edge. Okay, so let's declare a edge tag with the alignment of top. Put the content view inside the edge tag. And I also want to set the corner radius for the message list to 32. And I want to add an overlay. Okay. So inside that overlay, I have a logic. If the message list from the view model is currently empty, I'm going to render a placeholder text. Click send to start interacting with ChatGPT. Okay, and add multi-line text alignment modifier, passing center, and set the font to headline. Set the foreground color to color, and we're going to use the UI color initializer, and we are going to pass placeholder text. And in the else, in case the message is not empty, we're just going to declare an empty view. So let's build and run again. Okay, the message list is currently empty, so it will show that overlay containing the placeholder text. Okay, and after the content view, let's continue declaring a vstack for the buttons. So actually for the text field, right, we're going to render it like a button. Okay, so the idea, we're going to just declare a text field in here and then bind it to the vm.inputMessage publish property string and set the multi-line text alignment to center. And I'm going to just hardcode the frame width to 176 and set the focus. So we're going to use a focus state in here. Declare a focus state. Var is text field focused with a type of boolean, and we're going to bind this. Okay, is text field focused. So we're going to also add a disable. We're going to disable this in case the interacting with ChatGPT is true. So we don't want user to press send while we are still waiting for the response, the chunk of response. And we're going to add an on submit. Okay, so basically when the user submit the text field, we're going to kick off a async context. Okay, and then we are going to invoke the previous method that we had declared, send tab. This will basically use the import message and call the API, the ChatGPT API. So after that, I'm going to set the is text field focus to true. I think the name, we have I made a typo in here. Okay, double T should be this. So why, you may be thinking, right? So because in the tvOS, it's using a focus system, right? So we have to make sure that the focus will be always in the text field after the user send. So in case that is done, we want to set the focusable area back to the text field. Okay. And next one is on change. Okay, on change. I'm going to put it off is text field focus, and we don't need this new value. Okay, so whenever the text field focus, whenever the user dismiss this text field, okay, we're just going to set the view model input message to empty. So that way we won't display the text inside the text field. Okay, it will show only the placeholder. So that's what I mean. I want to make this placeholder to become like a button. Okay, you will understand later when we implement this. And let me show you what I mean, right? So this is the focus. This is the text field. It's like a button. So when I press enter in here, it will show this text field screen where I can dictate or type what is ChatGPT. Okay, tap done. Okay, as you can see, it cleared the text in this send and it invokes that method, this taskman actor. Okay, and another use case is when I type this and I press return, right? This should also clear the text inside the text field in here. Okay, as you can see there, right? Otherwise, the UI will be a bit weird. Okay, so that's the idea. I want to make this text field act like a button. Okay, I think we still need to add the assets as well in here. Okay, so let's do it. Okay, so now let's continue with this. Inside below the text field, let's declare a button with the title of clear and role of destructive. And inside the action closure, we just invoke clear message. Okay, let's also set the frame width to 176 and set the disable to VM is interacting with ChatGPT or the message list is empty. That either whether this is interacting with ChatGPT or the message is empty, we're going to disable this button. Okay, and below this button I want to declare a progress view. Okay, and going to set the progress view style to circular and set the padding to all the edges and set the opacity. Okay, in case it's interacting with ChatGPT, set it to 1, and in case it's not, I'm going to just put it 0, become hidden, right? Transparent. Okay, now we have this. Let's try. And hello. Okay, we have this progress view. Okay, the text wheel is back to be focused when this is over. And let us try tapping on the clear. Okay, it cleared the message list. Nice. Now I think we're still missing the assets. So go to the assets in the ChatGPT TV target. Declare the image set for OpenAI, and one is for profile. Let me copy and paste. Okay. Now we have the assets. Let's try to make sure it's rendered. Hello. This is, bro, I think this is a bit weird, right? The image is too small. So for sure, we need to adjust something in this message row view for the tvOS. Okay. And also let me show you something. Let me type show me code for Jigsaw in Swift. Okay. And if I try to scroll in there, I won't be able to scroll. Okay. Because we haven't added the focusable modifier to this text. And if we have this large string, right, in the response, right, we need to basically handle the focusable carefully, right? Because if in case that text is very large, it exceeds the maximum vertical lines of the screen, then we won't be able to scroll properly, right? So basically the idea that we want to do to handle this, right, we're going to basically break down the text into 8 lines for the response. So 8 lines set focusable, 8 lines set focusable. In that way, we should be able to scroll smoothly when using the remote. Okay, let's implement that now for you to understand. Now let's go to the message row view. First one is I want to add this else if again. So this is for watchOS, I think 20 by 20. And now let's add another else in here. This will be for tvOS. Okay, for tvOS, let's make the image a bit larger. Like this is too small previously. Let's set it to 80 by 80 for the tvOS image. And continuing on, I think in here currently it's also broken. We want to render the image and the text using an edge tag. So now I'm going to make some modification in here. First one, if the OS is watchOS, right? I'm going to cut this, the one in the else. Okay. And I'm going to declare else in here and remove this. So for TV watchOS, we're going to put it inside the edge tag. And for the other targets, macOS, iOS, tvOS, we'll put the image and the text inside an edge tag. Okay, so it can be displayed horizontally, side by side. Okay, we have this, and also for the padding, I think it's a bit tight in here. Let's add another conditional compilation. If the OS is tvOS and else. Okay. So for tvOS, let's set the padding to 32 for these edges. Okay, this, and this. And continuing on, we have to manipulate the text to be here. We need to break it down by 8 lines. Okay, 8 lines for the only for the tvOS. So to make it the focusable scrolling text, to make the scroll view works, scrolling text, to make the scroll view works when we are showing a very large string that exceeds the vertical space in your TV. Okay, now let me close this, and now let me declare a conditional compilation in here. If the OS is tvOS, let's declare a method in here, a private func. First one is rows. Okay, rows for text string, and this will return an array of string. So this text is the complete text that we need to break down. Okay, so the first element will be 8 lines, second one is 8 lines, and then so on. So first begin by declaring a rows containing an array of string, and let's declare a maximum lines per row. Okay, it will line 8 per row, and then let's declare a current row text to track the current row that we are adding as we are iterating the character in the text, and current line sum, the sum of the current line that we are currently iterating. And let's use for character in text looping this string. Okay, it will loop it character by character, and then let's set the current row text, append it with the string character, and let's check if the character equal to this new line. Okay, in case it is, let's update the increment the current line sum by 1, and continuing on, if the current line sum is equal greater than max lines per row, in case it is, let's append it to the array current row text, and let's reset the current lines sum to 0 and the current row text to empty string. And after the for loop for the remaining characters, let's just for the remaining text, let's just append it to the rows. Okay, and finally return the rows. Now with this, we should be able to scroll smoothly if we have a very large string. And now below this method, still inside the conditional compilation, let's declare a respond text view for text with the type of string, and this will return an opaque view. And in here, we're going to just use for each, invoking the rows for passing the text, and let's just set the ID to self. And in here, text in the view closure, declare text, pass the text string, set this focusable. This is very important to make that focusable so it can be scrolled, and set the multi-line text alignment to leading. Okay, now let's navigate to the message rows. So in here, we have to declare a conditional compilation again beside this. If the OS is tvOS and else. We only need that logic in the tvOS. For the other, we don't need to do that. So cut this, put it in the else. Okay. And for the tvOS, just invoke this respond text view passing the text. Okay. Let me check. And one more thing, I think this dot loading view is not working when rendering in tvOS. I'm not sure why, but we're going to just replace it with the standard progress view with the circular style. Okay, let's declare a conditional compilation again. Okay, in the else, just use the dot loading view that we used previously. And for the tvOS, let's use a progress view style, progress view style to circular, and set up padding to all the edges. Oh, I think it should be tvOS. Okay, OS is all capital. Let's build. Let's try this. Let me try to send. What is ChatGPT? Okay, looks good. Show me Dijkstra in Swift. This will be very long because it will show the code snippet. Okay, we have the circular progress indicator here and here, indicating that it's still interacting, waiting for the response from ChatGPT to complete. Yeah, this text or this string is very large, right? We need to break it down by 8 lines. Or if you want, you can also adjust. If you don't want 8 lines, you can maybe use 16 or 20, right? But I think 8 is good enough. So remember, you use that focusable if you put something in the scroll view or when you're running in tvOS. Otherwise, you won't be able to navigate to that particular UI element. Okay, you can see now I should be able to scroll, right? So it will be 8 lines. Okay. That's why we have to put that logic. Otherwise, we won't be able to scroll properly, even if you put focusable. Okay, now this looks good. Okay, now for the final part is we will implement a speech synthesizer. So when this response is complete, we are going to prompt a speech synthesizer voice to speak the text. Okay, so because probably the user is far away from the TV, right, and they cannot see this very small text, they want to also able to hear something, right, from the speaker of the TV. So let's implement that quickly. So let's go to the view model. First, let's just import AVKit. Okay, it's inside the AVKit framework, and let's make this optional, right? We don't want to break the other targets. Let's declare a private var synthesizer, and with the type of AV speech synthesizer optional. And in initializer, let's put enable speech boolean as the parameter with the default value of false. In case inside the init body, if enable speech is true, only in that case we will initialize the synthesizer. Okay. Now let's clear some method in here. First one is func stop speaking. We'll just stop speaking in case this is invoked. If it's currently speaking, immediate. Okay. And second one is speak last response. Here let's construct the utterance guard let synthesizer, and let's get the last response text from the message list. Make sure it's not empty, else we return. And let's stop speaking in here in case it's currently speaking, the previous one. And let's initialize an utterance, AV speech utterance, passing the string, the response text. And let's configure this, the voice to be 0 to 5. This will determine how fast it is. I think 0.5 looks okay. It's normal. Oh, sorry, this is the voice. For the voice, let's use a language of US. Okay, and the rate. So this is how fast it speaks. Let's put it to 0 to 5, and let's set the pitch multiplier, the baseline pitch 0.8, and utterance pause, utterance delay, the amount of time the speech pauses after speaking. Okay, let's put it 0.2. And finally, we need to invoke synthesizer speak passing the utterance. And in here, basically, after it receives the text, the stream of text from the ChatGPT API, we're just going to invoke speak last response. And in the clear message, I want to stop speaking in case it want to clear all the message in the list. Send. What is ChatGPT? It should be able to speak.
ChatGPT is an advanced language model developed by
But if I
OpenAI. It's
tap
capable
here,
of
it will still
generating
speak.
the input it receives. It's trained on a diverse range of internet texts, allowing it to respond to a wide range of
I think for now,
with high accuracy.
we just put that in the send tab. Just stop speaking. Okay. Of course, we cannot put this inside this on changes text field focus, because in this case we are setting the text field focus to true. I think that's the only thing we haven't handled this properly. But other than that, yeah, I think we have implemented this tvOS app for the ChatGPT app using SwiftUI. And yeah, that's basically the end of this ChatGPT SwiftUI series. I hope you like this series, and I hope you learn some of the things, or maybe a lot of things from this series, right? Because myself, I also learn a lot of things when implementing this as well. So yeah, that's it. If you like this video, please like it, subscribe if you haven't, and thank you for keep on supporting me. And as always, let's keep on being a lifelong learner. See you on the next one. Goodbye.